Here, and I wanted to say I'm really sorry it's taken me a week to get a response back to you about these paintings. Um, so I think that your bottom two are the strongest, and you set up some really great ideas in here. So if we go to this one right away, and let me just minimize that so we can pull that guy to here and talk about the ideas. First, you're not afraid to get in there and make marks, which is good. It's about developing them. And I know this is coming. This advice is coming a little bit late in the semester, but I think that you always have the time to go back through these and develop them even more. All right. So, with that being said, you have this great gradient flip flop going from here, darker, slightly darker, to lighter, and then darker down there to lighter. It just needs to be developed some. So here's my suggestion. When you go in here, work this even lighter. Work the background to the foreground. So say you go in here with another gray, right, that's light, and I might be thinking about you're hinting at a purple gray in here. So you work this background, bring up the paint a little bit thicker, work the texture, keep it still, try to keep it the paint relatively thin so that you can get the paint on the surface smoother and with less work and less roughness going in. And so you work that, you give your chance to develop a texture behind here and unify this gray in here. Then I do the same thing over here. Go lighter gray here and then work it across over here. If you're using black in here, don't use the black. Use the burnt umber ultramarine blue combination so you get a black-like color. Black kind of like gives color a punch, but it also robs color of its energy. All right. So you want to avoid that just using black. All right. So I'd work the backgrounds in here and develop the flip flop between this gray to there to lighter gray, this dark to over here. Then I'd work these leaves, I guess, in here a little bit more, and I'd be thinking, okay, I can come up with some more brilliant greens like ultramarine blue and the yellow and work that and define those leaves even more so, right? The bottle is really, really close. You get this idea in here, right? It just wants to be a little bit more round at the bottom, I think. And then also you get the marks in here going to show me volume. And I'd be thinking, where's the light coming from? So that's kind of a little confusing because you're going dark to light, light to dark. So you might be going, okay, that's all right because who knows what's happening in the background. My lighter side's going to be this side. And then over here, darker. Or this is going to be my lighter side and this is going to be darker, right? Then when I get this guy going in here, right, I work the shadow again. So you're really close in here. The medallion here, or the label, that you're getting in there messing around with the texture, and I love that. Okay? I think what your painting reads as is one that's done really quick, and you want to slow down. Being quick in the beginning's fine because you get everything blocked in and you give yourself some ideas to work towards, right? And then it's about slowing down and creating visual crispness and clarity. Okay, that's that guy. This guy, I think first thing I think about is your lighter over here over the darker here, right? Some work needs to happen on the top here and what's happening all in here. So I'm having a hard time reading if this is one big surface in here. And if it is with like a tablecloth or fabric going underneath the bowl, that's okay. Once again, the black, right? If it's the black, get rid of that black. Use the ultramarine blue and burnt umber. I think again, it's what you want to do is you want to work the background to the foreground. And in the grapes, you got a dark green, a middle value green, and a light green is what you want. But I think you also want to push the lighter values so it's even lighter in there, okay? So there's some great mark making going on in here. it's just about slowing down again and working towards visual crispness and clarity. I think settling this area down in here and then making this pop more so in here. And I'd be thinking you got purple, purple, and cool sensations here. What if this is a really warm sensation in here, right? And then same up in here. All right, so let's go to those four, which I think is right here. You asked suggestions up in here. What I said about there and there wants to be applied here. I would think about doing this also. I would think about, let me find, there we go. Let me grab a line here, here, and then what about this? Instead of, look at where your back edge of the table or whatnot is. It makes it feel like everything is sitting so back against that edge, and it creates a tension that I don't think is really working well for it. But what happens if you go like this? There to here, right? And you do something like that with the tabletop. And then you do this. You go like, okay, let's do that. And then let's do something like, well, you already got it with the window on the other one, but what happens if you go in here, here, or just do some kind of saying, okay, this is going to be a tabletop here, and what I'm looking at back in here is a doorway or something like that. Now look at what that does to the composition, right? So that's the first thing. And I go orange in here. I develop the orange. That's going to help the pitcher and the glass cup sit on that tabletop so much more convincingly, right? Then you work the shadows underneath. When you're describing the pitcher and the cup, get in there and show me volume with your mark making again, okay? The last one, the clock. I'm not against things like this, but I do want to say this, that sometimes when we think the easiest thing to paint is the least complicated, it gets complicated, right? And it becomes a challenge because you really, really want to make this thing sing and feel like it's a solid, even if it's a study, it's solid, okay? So, what to do here? Well, what happens if you have like a shadow, right? And the shadow is going from, let's say, here to here, and let's drag this guy down like that. And the shadow sits in there like that. Now, you're going to have to finesse this because the preview, I can't really bend this the way I would like to unless I did it in 2 moves, which would be something like here. So let's pull it over here and to here. There, right? And then one more, which would be here, across to there, and then down to, let's go into here, and then in there, right? Something like that, and then over in here. Right now, the shadow's going to do something in there. It's going to help it sit up, right? And what happens if you add some other fun in here? Like, it doesn't matter, dividing it up, making it feel like it really, the painting really works in a certain way. What happens if you come in through here? You pull something down in here like that. Now look at just what you do. You go like, okay, I'm going to make this a little darker. That's going to be a shadow in here. Darker, I'm going to have darker oranges in here. I'm going to have highlights up in here. If there's glass on here, I'm going to go in with a really thin white and put reflections on top of this in a certain way. Darker on that hand, darker on that hand. Okay? So, you're happening down in here, not happening up in here, and close in here, but I think this is what you want to do here. So up in here. And I think you want to play with these. If you find yourself always putting the back edge of the table in the same spot, mess around with it and see what happens. Create eye movement by adding diagonals in there. All right? That's about it. And I think I'm going to have to email you this because I'm having issues getting these into the discussion board. All right? Talk to you soon, and I hope you're having a great time. And let me know if you have any questions about this video. All right? Bye.